What's up? Welcome to part 16 of Project Bandit. Right, today I'm just going to do a very short one. I've just got to do a little bit of wiring, sighting and running, purely because I'm waiting for some bits and pieces to come in the post. When they arrive, then I can actually start looking at the lights on the back, which is what the wiring is going to be for. So that's all this is. Going to pop this under tray back out again and then run the wires where they need to be and then clip them in place, really so that it's properly assembled and all the wiring ends are here where I need them to be, so that I can run them to the things that they're going to connect to when the time comes. So again, thanks for all the fantastic support, the amazing messages. It's taken ever longer to answer everything, but we're determined to do so because it is a very special thing when you write to us and you make comments. We very much appreciate that. Okay.
We do.
There you go. Right, so let's get stuck into this. It's quite a short one. It's not massively interesting. This isn't groundbreaking progress. That's easy for you to say. This is just a little simple move forward. Simple as that. And I think every project has the dull bits in the middle. So grit your teeth for these, because I want to get to that fantastic tail panel manufacture, which we're going to be doing as soon as all this is done. So the sooner I get this done, the sooner we can move on. All right. See what happens. Okay. Starts just take this back out again. Like all these things, that if you haven't done a proper build yourself, or if you, I don't know, perhaps if you watch the build shows like OCC and West Coast Choppers and stuff, you see that they refer to something known as a dry build, which is when you put a bike together, build it, effectively finish it, so that it's done and you know that everything fits and everything works. Then you take it all apart again and you paint everything and you polish and you chrome and you powder coat and whatever. And once all that's done, then you reassemble the bike for the final time. And this is what it is, it's a dry build. Put that in, make sure it fits. Now I know that that panel, bar a few little adjustments, fits fine. I'm not going to put all the wiring in and then find out I can't fit that. It's just a simple pre-precaution. Right, come around this side. Go around that side there and have a look at that lot. Right, this is yummy. Look at that lot. But it's not as bad as it looks. Actually, I'll come around there. What I was going to say, the whole reason for this battery box on the back, period, was because I wanted to put the battery up there so I can put all this in the space that was the battery box. But I think I've just been having a little kind of contemplate, and all this needs to stay as it is. If I'm going to route this in different ways, different directions, it's really, a lot of it's got to be cut and spliced, and I'm just not getting involved in cutting and splicing things like this. It's going to cause problems, guaranteed. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to kind of route a bit of it back to where it came from. These tubes are obviously going to cause changes, things that weren't there before, and that's the starter wires and so on. You can see from, take the cover off, that's the starter solenoid and the main fuse there, so they need to be as they are. They're quite big beefy wires, and I've got plenty of wiring from car ice installs. I've got things like that left over from wiring car speakers and stuff in, so I've got plenty of major size wiring if I need it. I just would rather see if a little theory I had the other day would work. I'm not sure if it will, but we don't know. And I've got to be quite careful manipulating this stuff too much, because the way it's all bound, you can crack it if you're not careful, and then that leads later on to untold problems. Right, feed that back in. That's the route it originally took. It was all in there, so there's now nothing outside here, which is good. It's now all in here in the way. So bringing that up there out of the way, fill of dust. Right, all that out of the way there. That's that one. And the other one, this is the backlight and indicator wiring. And just here I had to do a repair, because I am a monkey boy. When I was lapping this with the lapping disc and taking off the welds, I just brushed one of the wires with the flapper, so I've cut that and rejoined it and then heat shrunk it, so that's a decent join and that won't cause any problems, and I will rewrap that with tape when the time comes. Now this again wants to go inside. Do what I said about this being boring. It really is boring, but it's unfortunately necessary, and something that has to be done. Right. Hey. So that's got shoot down there, babe. No, from where I was. I'll cut this bit out. Go around there and shoot down that hole. Right, what I'm going to do first, just while I've got an opportunity and I can see it, get down in there, take some of that kind of machining crud off from down there, a little tidy up, a bit of housekeeping. There we go, that's better. Alright. And this kind of manipulation just to get it all to root properly. The good thing is when this is effectively a factory bike, you know, there's nothing really that I've changed that's groundbreaking. It should all fit. Technically, everything kind of should fit.
Fit back where they came.
They never fit back where they come from, do they?
No.
Oddly enough, that's it. That has just popped back into place, straight in. And I poke the bolts back in loose, just in there, just to retain it. Just put them in finger tight, just so I can still jiggle it about. Whoever misses. I hate wiring loose. Actually, there's a bit of a homage there. There's a guy building a hot rod in the States that I followed for a long time before he dropped off the tube. Rob in New Hampshire, and Rob was one of those guys he's got the angle on wiring like you wouldn't believe. I just watched him sit and wire a hot rod from end to end, absolutely astonished. And one thing he said, which was really cool, was it's just one wire at a time. Just do it one wire at a time. It doesn't have to be difficult. And that's right. But then you go looking at that. It is. Some people, like my mate Rob in Canada, who's built a rather amazing Camaro. He's a technician. He's a GM technician by trade. So some people have just physically got the training. But me, I am just a monkey boy in the garage. And wiring to me is a dark art. Right, that's the wire, that's the bolts just put in their holes for now. That one's in there. Right, so these, I remember now, what this was really about, this whole moving the battery thing, it was actually just about this bit here. That goes to the battery. It was really just these bits, those bits there, because all the rest of this goes here anyway. It lives here. He live here, just on its own. And this just getting it in the right order so that it's not pinched or in any way. See, this used to come outside and then in through here where these are, so it's going to be in the way a bit now. But that. Right, fuse box. As you can see, this kind of thing is quite good fun. It's just kind of assembly, and I've been reminding myself all week when I'm working that the things I want to do, the things I want to crack on with, I will do, but I'm not going to get too OCD about it, purely because, as someone rightly said, this is just, it is a rat and survival bike. There you go, that pops onto there. That's its proper perch, that's its home, that's where it lives. And that fuse box lives in there. And I'm just going to kind of put this together and move on. I said a few times to others in the last little raft of comments that this tail end is about 80% of the project, or so, roughly. Meaning that once I've got past this whole back end, and this, I can just call this back end finished completely and done and move on, then the rest isn't going to take so long. It really isn't. The front end, it's more just about removal of stuff and tidying up, and I've got some little plans for the engine cage, obviously with no protection from the weather on this back end. I've got a little fender ideal planned. Right, now this is the stuff that used to live outside the frame here, through this underneath. It used to live outside there and on clips with the bodywork over it, and that's what I've got to lose and get rid of. Now the idea was hoping whether or not it can because the battery lives in there. Where I'm going with this, where I'm waffling on about is, it's just possible that I might be able to keep the battery there. Now it's nothing to do with weight distribution and nothing to do with anything else like that. It's just whether or not I can actually keep that back end empty, because I want to bury a light right inside that, poking out the back, and keep it even shorter. Just a plan, just a thought, nothing serious. It may not happen, but looking at that, if I can manipulate this and tidy it up, get all these wires so that they're relaxed and that nothing is taut or twisted or pressed or clipped or kinked or anything like that, then I might be able to just put that down there, drill a couple of holes in this and cable tie. As you do, you drill 2 holes in that, put it in place, you cable tie around and zip it underneath, and it's in place. Battery in the lot, and then that's it, everything's in there then. So I'm going to have a little fiddle with this and see if I can get this to fit in. Just you can see it's just jiggly, wiggly, faffing and swearing, and it'll happen. And maybe the battery can stay where it's meant to stay, because that's what that was going to all go in there. I mean, it will all go in there. There you go, look, it's all in there, but it's, I don't know, maybe get the battery in there as well. Stick around. Right, here we are. You join me about typically an hour later now. Now I had this bizarre idea of putting the battery in there, but it ain't going to work. This is the original plan, to put the wiring in there. That's why I made a battery box. But I just had a rethink, and I thought maybe I can get the battery in there, but it is too big. The battery comes up to here and actually sits level like that. So there's no room for any of this wiring to sit kind of in these little spaces, which I thought it might. And also it looks shit, which is no good. So that's going to go back to plan A with this anyway. So that's now correct. That's nice, neat. They're all plugged in. There's a little plug socket down there which has just popped out. So that's all correctly routed and as it should be. This little solenoid, those little wires down there, there's nothing much down there. Whoops. There's not a lot down there. That's just flasher relay and so on, bits and pieces which can just get cable tied. I'll just zip tie those out the way nice and safe. But that's just got to go. There's a little metal tang on the bottom of that which is going to get tied into there, and I'll just mount that like that quite neatly, and then just run a longer mains cable and a longer earth cable so they both go back to the battery when the time comes. And that's all. So there we are, another hour of faffing about, but actually starting to get somewhere. Just got cable tie the back of that up, just neatness, just clipping stuff off, but I've run out of time. There we go. So there we are, there's another little section of it done. It's got to wait for some parts, so taking some time to run that, to make a nice job of it. Got to run some longer battery cables, get the battery in, get it sort of secured in place so that I know what I'm doing with that. And then it's ready, hopefully. Once all this is in, wire the battery, connect it up, test that everything works. I'm going to connect the lights. The lights are getting secured to the frame, so that when the tail panel comes, it's just a panel. It's not going to have lights all mounted in it or anything. I've got some different plans, like I said, waiting for some parts, so don't know what we're going to do until that comes. But there we are. Thanks for tuning in to What's in Delboy's Garage. Penny's gone to work. It's the same for me. It's 9:30 now. I start work at 11 o'clock. So I'll go get a shower, get changed, get ready for work myself. Another little bit, get this loaded up. Take it easy, ride safe. See you next time.